Hello all. In the previous part, we had a glimpse of how magnanimous King Karikaalan was. And we also looked into the story of his encounter with a poetess who was bold enough to call him a loser. Well, we are getting back to our poem, and our poet has got a lot of praises for King Karikaalan. We shall move ahead with the poem. கள் கொடுத்தல் மழையென மருளும் மகிழ்செய் மாடத்து இளையணி வகுப்பின் இன்னகை மகளிர் போக்கியில் புலங்கலம் நிறைந்த பல்கால் வாக்குப தரத்தர வருத்தம் வீட ஆற உண்டு பேரஞர் போக்கி செருக்கோடு நின்ற காலை மற்ற அவன் திருக்கிளர் கோயில் ஒரு சிறை தங்கி தவம் செய் மாக்கள் தம் உடம்பை இடாது அதன் பயம் எய்திய அளவை மான ஆறு செல் வருத்தம் அகல நீக்கி ஆனந்தர் நடுக்கம் அல்லது யாவும் மனம் கவல்ப்பு இன்றி மாமாழ்ந்து எழுந்து. Honeydew served. Dark-haired like the rain cloud shroud came beauty incarnate dames smiling sweetly and loud. With golden goblets constantly filled, again and again they served as sorrow spilled. Gulped and boozed till spill sorrow's loss, stood I dazed with joy in place that is his. On the rich side where I had littlest biz, like great sages who shun their earthly body to attain higher stances that embody, discard their ways and sorrows in full, sans tremble nor a little shake. A state of confusion I dozed to wake. The poet says how he was served with a lot of different drinks before they were served with food items. He recollects lot of beautiful women coming over to serve them with freshly cultured honeydew. Honeydew is somewhat similar to wine, which is molasses fruit juices. So over here, molasses flower nectar are combined with tobacco and honeydew was created. Now they were served with honeydew that was freshly cultured. So he felt it was tasty. And they kept on drinking and their glasses were constantly filled. And the glasses were not ordinary ones, they were golden goblets. And he was so dazed that he felt all his sorrows being wiped out. Strangely enough, the poet compares the state of intoxication, with a sage who is doing a penance. Just like how in intense penance, sages leave their earthly body behind and wander around the world, the poet says that he had a similar liberation. As soon as he started taking a lot of honeydew, he felt the same. His soul felt light and he was very jubilant and he knew that his poverty was coming to an end. And strangely enough, the poet also recollects that the next morning when he woke up, he did not have a hangover at all. He felt fit and sober. So the poet really had a very good experience. Moving ahead with the poem, Maalayum Kaalayum. Maalai annadu or punmayum, Kaalai kandor marulum, Vandu soolnilayum, Kanavu ena marunda en nenjaye maappa, Vallanyar, Pottiya manam mahil sirappa, Kalla ilanyar sollik kaata, Kadumena karaindu vam ena kooy, Adan murai kalpiya pindrai, Padan arindu. Dusk and dawn. The dusk which darkened us poorly on befuddled even bees to our brightest at dawn, pulling up not wanting it to be a dream, erasing sorrow to fill with joy, showed me to the king, the wordless boy. Come here, boomed his majesty so loudly, post all set formalities, a gesture very timely. The next day when the poet and his troop woke up, like I already told, they felt very sober. So they dressed themselves up, they cleaned themselves up, they freshened up, and they were led to the court by a boy who seemed to be an illiterate. He had nothing to say about them at all. He introduces them to the king. King was very happy to see them. The poet mildly recollects being surrounded by buzzing bees, and he thinks maybe the bees are around him because of the honeydew that he had the previous night. He recollects how booming and loud the king's voice was. The king asks him to come closer, he being the chief of the bards. Arasan unavalitta pangu. துராஐ துற்றிய துருவை அம்புழுக்கின் பரா அறை வேவை பருகு என தண்டி காளின் சுட்ட கோள் ஊன் கொழுங்குறை ஊழின் நூலின் வாய் வைத்து ஒற்றி அவை அவை முனிகுவம் எனினே சுவைய வேறு பல் உருவின் விறகு தந்து ஈரி மண்ணமை முழவின் பண்ணமை சீரியாள் ஒண்ணுதல் விரலியர் பாணி தூங்க மகிழ்ப்பதும் பல்நாள் கழிப்பி ஒரு நாள் அவிழ்ப்பதம் கொள்க என்று இறப்ப மகிழ்த்தகை முறவை போகிய முறியா அரிசி விரல் என நிமிர்ந்த நிரல் அமைப்புழுக்கள் பரல்வரை கருணை காடியின் மிதப்ப அயின்ற காலை பயின்று இனிது இருந்து கொல்லை உழு கொழு ஏய்ப்ப பல்லே எல்லையும் இரவும் ஊன் தின்று மழுங்கி உயிர்ப்பிடம் பெறாது ஊன் முடிந்து. The Lord served me finest grass-fed fat sheep's meat, so thick, cooked well, too tempting to resist. Fatty chunks roasted as hot iron hissed, blown on and on to cool them down, again and again turned them down, as varieties of desserts were piled on plates, as the midget lute played and copper drums beat, chorused with the singers and dancers' painted feet. Days rolled on to weeks when one day, "Have some more cooked rice," I heard him say. Finely pounded, unbroken jasmine white rice, every grain of same size, long and boiled well. Hard fried yam cooked with tang, I can tell. As I stayed and ate my fill sans worry, my teeth set to munch on like a quarry, munched on all odd meat till they blunted out, with no time to rest, food so despicable one day. The poet recounts what sort of food was served to him and his troop in the palace and how it was served to them. He says that fat sheep meat was served along with long white grain rice. And the food that they were served with was fit enough for a feast to the king himself. They were not spared being mere bards. They were treated equal to that of the king himself. And while they ate and drank, they were accompanied by the musicians of the court. There were singers who sang with the accompaniments of the instruments. There were dancers who sang to the songs that were being sung. And these people were served with rich food every single day of their stay. The poet is trying very hard to recollect or count the number of days they had been living in the palace, but he is not able to do so. And wittingly he says he had been munching on food for a very long time, that his teeth started becoming blunt. He also says that usually it is the plow which goes over the land which produces paddy and rice grain, whereas over here, paddy and rice grain is being plowed over by teeth. And at one point he says that they started hating the food that was being served to them. This is because they did absolutely nothing. They simply ate, drank, made merry. And this was quite boring. They also were conscious about the people who they had left back at home. Moving over with the poem, தம்மூர் செல்ல முனைந்த பொருணன் ஒரு நாள் செயிர்த்து எழுத்தெவ்வர் திரை துறை போகிய செல்வா சேரும் எம் தொல் பதிப்பெயர்ந்து என மெல்லென கிளந்தனமாக வல்லே அகரிரோ எம் அயம் விட்டு என சீரியவன் போல் செயிர்த்த நோக்கமோடு துடியடி அன்ன தூங்கு நடை குழுவியோடு பிடிப்புணர்வேழம் பெட்டவை கொள்க என தன் அரியளவையின் தரத்தரையானும் என் அரியளவையின் வேண்டுவ முகந்து கொண்டு இன்மை தீர வந்தனன். Permission to head back home. Oh dear peeved protector who keeps foes at bay, rich and valued lord, do let us take leave. As we did softly stutter, we heard him heave, "My kin, how soon thou leave my abode," he said. With love-filled anger he did retort, "Take my drum-footed mammoths and their calves and resort, and their mates too, with all that you desire," he urged. And more on has he piled, as we submerged, but took only what we could and need be, just to end our age-old poverty. Here the poet recollects how one day he plucked up the courage to inform the king that he has to head back to his home, to his people who are waiting for him to come back. And so he sent word to the king, saying softly that he would like to go back home. He recollects with joy and mixed feelings how the king reacted. The king had love filled anger in him. He was so angry that they were leaving so very soon. At the same time, it showed his attachment towards the bard's troop. The king said that they were leaving very soon and he did not want them to leave at all. But when the poet insisted on leaving, the king, being very generous, offered his mammoths, that is, elephants, along with their calves, and several more gifts for them to carry. Not being satisfied with that, the king asked him to take whatever he wanted to. But the poet says that he did not want to act very selfish or very greedy. And so he took whatever was necessary, whatever would help his people back home, and was ready to leave the palace. We are going to enter into a very important part of the poem. Catch you in the next part. Thank you.